Crews at Fukushima Daiichi have taken another approach in their efforts to deal with groundwater at the nuclear complex. 400 tons of it flows into the facility every day and mixes with radioactive water. But their latest attempts to stop the buildup is not going as they'd hoped. The workers launched what they call a bypass operation in May. They're pumping up groundwater before it flows into the plant and gets contaminated. Then they release it into the Pacific Ocean. Officials with Tokyo Electric Power Company say from last month through August 17th, water levels have dropped about 10 centimeters. And since the operation started, water levels are down 20 to 30 centimeters. But they say the levels of contaminated water inside the buildings have changed little. The officials believe they need to lower the levels by up to 1 meter. They say the flow of groundwater into the plant is slow and rain adds to the problem. So they say that's why they're not seeing the changes they'd wished for. They expect it will be several more months before they see results. Japanese officials have a lot of obligations. They have to find ways to support the fastest aging population in the world. They also have the biggest debt burden among industrialized nations. So their budget requests keep getting bigger. Ai Uchida joins us now from the business desk. Tell us more, Ai.
Catherine, the Prime Minister does realize the need to boost revenue. He does have plans to do just that. But even that requires money to get things off the ground. And that's why officials with Japan's government ministries are set to demand more than 100 trillion yen, or more than $960 billion for the 2015 fiscal budget. The record outlay highlights the struggle between the need to balance the government's growth plans and fiscal health. People at the Health and Welfare Ministry will ask for about $304 billion, the biggest request ever. The money is needed to cover pension and medical costs, among other growing Social Security outlays as the country's population ages. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's growth strategy is also driving up the budget. Officials have decided to allocate nearly $40 billion for projects aimed at enabling the strategy. The total requests for policy spending are expected to be some $730 billion. In addition, debt service costs will likely grow to nearly $250 billion as the balance of government bonds continues to rise. Officials from each ministry will submit the request to the Finance Ministry by Friday.
Well, we've been hearing a lot about Japan's target of doubling the number of visitors from overseas by 2020. And to achieve that goal, government officials are to tap the power of information technology. They'll analyze vast amounts of information called big data to learn more about what tourists are looking for. People at the Japan Tourism Agency say they will ask foreign visitors to download an application for a global positioning system, or GPS, onto their smartphones. With their permission, agency researchers plan to find out the destinations the tourists went to, as well as the routes that they took. The researchers say they also want to gather data on what the visitors are posting about their experiences in Japan through social media like Twitter. The tourism officials plan to share the results with regional governments and business people in related industries. They can then develop new sightseeing routes, organize attractive events, and improve facilities for overseas visitors. For this effort, the tourism agency plans to ask for a budget allocation of about $1 million in the coming fiscal year.
Japanese government officials have been working to liberalize the retail electricity market. Now officials at Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, have decided to supply energy outside its local area for the first time starting in October. People close to the deal say TEPCO executives have signed a contract with electric appliance chain Yamada Denki. TEPCO will provide electricity to more than 60 of the chain's outlets in central and western Japan through a subsidiary. It will buy the power from local firms with in-house generators. TEPCO executives are aiming for $1.6 billion in out-of-region sales by 2024. They're negotiating similar deals with other firms that have nationwide operations. Chubu Electric in central Japan has also begun supplying electricity outside its region. It's selling energy to companies in the Tokyo metropolitan area, which is TEPCO's turf. Competition among electric power companies is expected to heat up. Analysts are watching to see if that will lead to lower electricity rates and better services.
Developers are coming up with other things that seem straight out of science fiction. Robots that can hold their own in a conversation, self-driving cars. And engineers are racing to do even more with artificial intelligence. But some of what they're building could put people out of a job.
本日はようこそお越しくださいました。私の名前はエミュー2です。
This robot, developed by a leading electronics company, greets visitors as they arrive. There are 2 cameras installed in its head, allowing it to identify and name objects that it sees.
What is this?
はい、これは時計かな。
The robot's brain is controlled by artificial intelligence. It searches the internet for images similar to the objects spotted by its cameras. Once the robot has found a commonly used word, it guesses what the object is and responds. In conversations, EMU can understand the meaning of a sentence, even if it's expressed in different ways.
What's the height of Mount Fuji?
3776メートルです。
How high is Mount Fuji?
3776メートルです。
The robot's key feature is that it can learn on its own, using its data and experience. It doesn't have to be taught. We hope it can be introduced at hospitals, shopping centers, and other places.
Artificial intelligence is already being used by some businesses. This company conducts research to find corporate wrongdoing and provide legal support. It checks emails and document files for evidence and materials that might indicate wrongdoing. One large computer can store over 1 million files, so artificial intelligence is needed to sort through large volumes of data. At most law firms, the staff have to go through every single file and email one at a time to check for any wrongdoing. To program the digital brain, documents relating to both legal and illegal acts are first inputted, roughly 100 each. It can then scan documents and sort them into 2 categories. It sorts documents 4,000 times faster than people, and as it gains experience, its accuracy improves. In this demonstration, the digital brain was able to sift through about 300,000 items of data in 30 minutes. It was able to identify requests for money that used the code word alpha.
It found the word alpha was being used to ask for money in exchange for something. We would never pick that up unless we had input it first. Artificial intelligence is gaining greater accuracy than people in making judgments. Humans sometimes make errors, but artificial intelligence doesn't. So I trust it and use it.
Before long, humans may find themselves facing off against robots and artificial intelligence in the workplace.
There's no shortage of advice on how to live a better life, but one young Japanese woman speaks from experience. A late-stage cancer patient, she shares her message of hope with others.
Do you feel happy just to be alive right now?
Hiroko Yamashita is giving a lecture at her old high school. Just 21 years old, she's here to talk about her fight against liver cancer. When doctors diagnosed her disease, they told her she had 6 months to live. That was nearly 2 years ago.
We don't have unlimited time. Our time is limited. I think it's best if we spend that limited time in a meaningful way.
Yamashita's cancer was already at an advanced stage when her disease was identified. The tumor in her liver weighed 2 kilograms. It was removed, but the cancer had already spread to her lungs. Her doctor told her there was no hope of a cure. Yamashita fought off grief and despair. She was determined to make the most of what time she had left. She started giving lectures and launched a blog.
We never know when our time will come. Did you all smile at your parents as you left the house this morning? Is there anyone you've had a fight with and aren't speaking to any longer?
Students write letters to her after her lectures. If my life ended today, I would be full of regrets. I will treasure each moment of my life.
I think most of us live our lives without giving it any particular thought. But our time is so limited. I think the important thing is not to live a long and meaningless life, but to use the time we have in a meaningful way.
Yamashita knows the odds are against her, but she won't give up the fight. She's searching for a cure. In July, surgeons in Tokyo removed cancer that had returned to her liver. The day before the operation, Yamashita received messages of encouragement.
May tomorrow's operation go without a hitch. Wishing you the best. I hope the operation is successful. Though I accept that I'm going to die, I really love this world. And if I can live for even a second longer, I want to. And there are other people who want me to live too. So I really should put all my effort into living. I grow stronger each time I overcome a challenge.
Yamashita continues to blog and lecture around the country. She is living the message she preaches, pursuing a life without regrets.
I'd be so happy if my words and what I've been through helped or inspired anyone. I can't think of a happier way to be than this. I'm so glad I've had this opportunity to feel truly alive. Cancer has taught me so many things.
Such a strong young woman there. Yamashita continues to make plans for the future. Her next project is setting up an organization to support people living with cancer.